You say your goodbyes, and then they take you around this corner, and then you go around the corner, and there's a bunch of people yelling at you, like, "Get the f*** on the bus right now! You're ours now! Get on the bus! You belong to us!" And
mommy's gone.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy, we make it all of this money. Yeah, I know it's rude to be bragging. They never catching us slacking. Me and my buddy, we working hard for this.
Let's have fun.
Cool.
We're live.
All right, guys. Welcome back to Table One Podcast. Justin Young here, Art Parman, and are you past Hawk or like are we still in Hawk? Like, I know you actually have a real name. We'll get to that in a second, but like,
I don't even know that I have a real name anymore.
what's your spirit animal? What are we going with?
I'm a hawk. Sometimes I'm a turtle. Yeah, I guess hawk and turtle.
All right, Dave Hawk / Turtle Richards.
Yeah.
So,
Also known as Poker with a Purpose.
That's right,
On Instagram. He's basically the yoga instructor of poker. He's got his own soulful journey through poker, and watching his vlogs and his posts, they're like, have you ever seen a post where the picture is almost as big as the block of text underneath of it? That's Dave's Instagram post because he goes deep in the weeds on the spiritual journey that he's on every hand. I love it.
yeah, it is good.
Yeah, I have an uncanny ability to take a hand that involves a 3-bet and a C-bet and turn it into six paragraphs of information.
You should paint a picture every time. Like the hand history is just a painting, just like a Jackson Pollock, just kind of drip stuff. Like
it's aggressive prose, you know? I see your sentence. I raise you 2 paragraphs.
I know you didn't ask for this, but you're getting it.
Anyways, this is Dave Richards. He's a longtime friend of Justin and I, maybe a bit unknown to you guys. We've had some super famous guests on recently. Chance's Cards, Mr. Chance Cornuth was on recently. His episode's doing well. Chino Ream, you know, and most recently to you guys will be Lee Jones of PokerStars, which anyone under 35 will have no idea who that is. Everyone over will be like, whoa, that guy. Anyways.
So you have a lot to live up to. And go.
And we got Dave.
All right, well then in that case, I'll start I brought you guys a gift, obviously.
Oh, hell yeah.
You're my number one guest now.
The Crystal Man.
Oh,
So
hell
I
yeah.
got this. This was my favorite crystal, and it broke in half, and it still fits together. So now you guys each have a half.
It's like a crystal wishbone.
Together.
Chris Bone.
Unite.
Wonder Twin powers. Activate. And on that note, I actually have a gift for you. I do. It, our game is the Table One podcast, Table One game. These came in recently, all the way from, actually, they're American made. I was going to say China, just because everything's made there, but this is our, it's our new reminder coin, Table One, make poker fun again. And on the other side, if you want to be all in, you can be. That's for you to remember, to remind yourself when your hawk wants to perch on something on your cards, the poker's supposed to be fun. So there you go.
Thank you,
That's
guys.
for you, buddy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to have it right out at the win game. I'll use my all-in button.
Yeah,
like it.
I love it. Angle someone. This is not an actual gaming instrument, guys. If you throw out all in, you might angle someone into calling, and you're like, oh, I was just throwing my coin in. I was giving it to the dealer.
Actually, Art used it yesterday.
I did.
For real. I mean, he didn't angle anybody.
It's true. I did have the queen high flush though. So spoiler alert, Danielle, good fold. Yeah, I had the queen high flush. But no, this is Dave, and what we usually do on our show is kind of go back in time to where you were thinking about pursuing a noble life, helping people, contributing to society, and you thought, hey, how about 2 cards and all these chips, and we gamble for all of it. So bring us back to
Mini Dave.
God, I was trying to think of a baby
Little Dave.
bird. A little baby bird Dave.
Oh, there you go.
A little tiny hawk.
Sparrow.
Yeah, little baby sparrow.
Sparrow Dave.
And
Finch.
yeah, tell us when you found poker and how it kind of overtook your life.
Yeah, great question. First, thank you guys for having me. So I was kind of sold the college dream. I think like a lot of people, you know, my parents were both like get good grades, be an athlete. You know, I was like Division I swimmer, got like top of my class in high school and everything. So I was like sold the go to college, get a good job, that sort of dream.
Where'd you go to college? Sorry.
I went to, so I graduated and I applied to Duke and Notre Dame, didn't get in, and then I ended up going to University of Buffalo for a couple of years, and got there, was like small fish, big pond. Back then I was a fish, no hawk yet, so I was small fish, big pond, and I just felt like really lost. I didn't know I didn't have a path. I was like, okay, well I'm swimming and I'm getting in grades, but I don't really like this, and I don't know where my life is going after this. So what am I gonna do?
Just as a small side note, isn't it interesting how like high school, like you can just crush it and be like kind of doing pretty good and like have good scores, be the best swimmer in the school, and then like all of a sudden you're like with a bunch of versions of you, like everybody else that graduated to that level, and you're like, oh, I'm not elite. I'm just one of all of these guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's just crazy the way that, I don't know, that was the first year of college for me. I was just kind of like, huh, everybody's pretty bright here. Like, it's kind of weird. I'm used to just like, nobody's trying and these people care about what happens to them. Anyway, I dropped out, but carry on with your story.
Yeah, in high school I felt special, you know, like people knew me. I knew everyone. I came from a small town in Syracuse, New York. And then, yeah, you get to Buffalo and it's like, I was like, wait, nobody's gonna yell at me and tell me to study more or like tell me to go to class or whatever. So I started, like I got my first C, I think, and I was like, I don't even care. Like I don't even want to go to class. Like this is, I don't like it here. I don't really like the people. Like I just wasn't having fun. It didn't like fill me up. It didn't inspire me. So I had a couple of friends, best friends that went to West Point, and I got hooked on that. I got sold on that. I got like, oh my God, I can have a job. I can get paid to go to school. I get to go to this like prestigious academy. It was like #1 in the world at that time. And I get to have like respect, you know, okay, people will respect me. People will, I'll get to graduate as an officer and I'll be like, okay, cool, my life is mapped out and everybody will, I'll respect myself because I'll have something on the outside that like shows that I'm worthy of respect.
Did you just get in automatically? You have to apply for that
No,
kind
you
of
gotta
stuff.
apply, yeah,
Yeah, it's very prestigious. So like, you were talked into it as you were applying, or they just kind of like?
No, they're like, I was like, guys, I hate college. And they're like, oh, you should go to West Point. And I was like,
Is West Point not college, or?
yeah, well, yeah, it was.
It's a form.
I was unhappy with going to Buffalo. Like I felt like I was selling myself short by going to like a University of Buffalo public school kind of thing. So I was like, okay.
Sorry, Bisons.
No, they're the
Are they?
Buffaloes. They're the Buffaloes.
They're the Buffalo Buffaloes? I don't know. I thought they were the
I
Bisons.
hope they're the Buffalo
No, they're not the
Buffaloes.
Bisons. That's Bucknell is the Bison.
There's so many Bisons out there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Either way, go ahead. I'm
Wait,
sorry.
so in what you did your freshman year, and like during that year you applied to
I did my
West Point,
freshman
or?
year, sophomore year, I applied to West Point. And you got to do a bunch of stuff. You got to do a physical fitness test. You got to do, your aptitude test. You got to get a recommendation from a congressman or a senator.
Really?
Holy cow.
Or the president.
And you knew
Which president was
those?
it? What, in office when you?
I got it was just a congressman from New York.
Oh, boring.
And so I did all those things. I got in and I was like, okay, this is cool. And then, so I went, and my first day at West Point, I remember they put a form in front of you. Well, so first thing, you sit in this auditorium and they give you this spiel with a bunch of other people that are in your class, you're 20 or whatever. And they're like, give you this spiel, and then like, you now have 30 seconds to say goodbye. And like, you look at your parents and you're like, oh shit. And then you say your goodbyes, and then they take you around this corner, and then you go around the corner and there's a bunch of people yelling at you like, get the fuck on the bus right now. You're ours now, get on the bus, you belong to us. And
Mommy's gone.
yeah, so then I remember like one point during that day, they take you and you have like a contract, and you have to sign a contract that says you owe 4 years at West Point and then 5 years in the Army after. And I remember thinking before I signed it, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, holy shit. Like,
Signed
what
up
did I
for
get?
9 years.
Yeah, so I signed it and I was like, oh my God. So I did West Point. West Point was really cool. It's prestigious, it's nostalgic. You don't have like responsibilities when you're a cadet, so it's fun. It's cool. You get to go to swimming. You get to, I was on the swim team there. You get to go do military training during the summers and all that. So that was really cool.
I don't remember the exact story, but I remember you telling a funny West Point story of, God, I don't know. Something tells me you were naked, but maybe you weren't. Maybe that's my imagination. It was something about like being out past curfew or something like that, or.
Yeah, well, there's a thing at West Point called Naked Man, and it wasn't me. I wasn't naked, man.
Oh, okay.
But what people will do sometimes is there's like a giant quad, and someone will run naked through the quad, and you get in like a lot of trouble. So they'll have like someone will run naked, and someone will go naked man, and everybody looks out and starts screaming, and then they'll do something like they'll have someone helping them out, or they'll hide clothes somewhere else on the campus, so they run and get their clothes and change and whatever. But naked man's like a thing. You get like a couple of them per semester.
Really?
It's
like a streaker at a football game, but for school.
So it's prestige based or whatever. I mean, like it's okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then every once in a while you'll see like one of the people in charge like pop out of a corner and like spear him. He's like tackle this naked guy and dragging him across the courtyard.
Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome. All right, so you finished West Point.
Yeah, so still while I'm at West Point, I was getting even more kind of disenfranchised with like why am I here? Like what am I doing here? Like I'm here because like I want this sense of respect. I want to do something with my life. I want a sense of purpose, but it was all on the outside. It was like, okay, I go to West Point and they're telling me that I can be respected and that I can like myself because I have a good job. I have a, captain bars on my shoulders and all this stuff. But while I'm there, I'm just like really unhappy with who I am. So this is when I started getting into poker. This was 2004 I graduated, so 2002 I turned, 2008 I graduated, 2004 I went to West Point. So right in there I was turning 21. So I started hosting poker games in the barracks.
What was your first exposure to poker though, and gambling in general?
Well, we had Turning Stone in New York, so I was playing 18. I remember like going playing limit poker and flopping a set of queens versus someone's set of nines, and like we were like betting. Yeah. And so we go to the Indian Casino and get exposed to that, and then
I've been to Turning Stone. I drove all the way up from Virginia when I was 19 years old, and it's a longer drive than I was expecting.
yeah, it's like 10 hours.
Yeah, it's quite a drive. So you're kind of, that was your first run-in with poker? You never played like games as a kid with your family, like poker games or anything like that?
Yeah, my family's Italian, so we used to play penny poker in my grandma's basement. And so my family had the gambling gene. My grandma's sister, my dad used to say that she would bet on a cockroach running across the floor. So you could say it's in my family. And then, so I started playing when I was at West Point, where I was like, I would go basically so during the week you can't leave post. So Friday would hit, I'd go to swim practice, and then you're free for the weekend. And I would like get in my car and drive to Atlantic City.
How long is that drive?
2.5 hours.
Okay, not too bad.
So I would drive there, I'd get there like maybe Saturday morning, I'd play like Saturday morning through Saturday night to Sunday at like 7 p.m. And you gotta be back in your barracks by like 11 o'clock curfew. And someone comes and checks your door. And I would be like dead tired. I would drive from Atlantic City to I'd play like whatever the 1-2 at Caesars or something there. I'd drive like 45 minutes to the nearest rest stop. I call my girlfriend and go, I'm taking a 20-minute nap. You need to call me nonstop until I wake up, because otherwise I'm gonna get kicked out. So, and then I'd make her talk to me the entire ride home. And I remember I used to like drive, it'd be like winter on the turnpike, and I'd have the windows down, and I'd have like my socks off and my feet out the window to keep you awake. And I mean, this is just like as degenerate as it gets,
That's
just
fantastic.
Like,
That's
I
good.
have to like, I hate my life so much. Then I need to like drive 2.5 hours to like let loose and then just degen it all the way back.
Yeah, you can't sleep and miss out on any of the free time that you have.
So on these benders, you're not like getting a hotel room, you're actually grinding the full like 48 or whatever you said, 36 hours of poker?
Pretty much, because I was a college kid. I didn't really have money. I would go down there with like $300, and then I'd be like, okay, I hope I win. And then sometimes I would like blow it, and I'd borrow money from the other guy I was with, or I'd be like, fuck, I only have $300 in my bank account, and I'd like go get 300 more, and I'd be like, okay, I hope I win this.
Did you ever go and it was like you got busted in the first hour, you got your last money, and you got busted, and you had to just like go home after like 3 hours of the 2-hour drive?
Yeah, or we'd sleep in the car outside in the parking lot or something.
I love it.
I mean, just total, absolute degen,
Yeah, 21-year-old
I feel like
bullshit.
we were there around the same time. That's good.
So it was a lot of that. It was like leaving post to go do that, and then hosting games in the barracks. And then my senior year, I got in trouble for it all. I was one of the guys that was in the games in the barracks. His parents were like senior officers, and they found out that he was doing it, so they told people at West Point, and then he got in trouble. And then the same weekend that happened, I got caught blowing post to go see my girlfriend. Like I left, I was doing shady shit. You have to get to leave post, you have to get approved by a commander, like to leave. And what I would do is I would apply to get approved, and they would get approved, but then I would never sign out. So if you don't sign out, it doesn't get used. So I would just put the approval note on my door. So when the cadet would come around and check your room, he would be like, oh, okay, Dave's on pass. But like whoever's checking that weekend, like knew it didn't match up, and he called me at like 2 a.m. and he's like, you need to come back now, or I'm like, it's 2 a.m, I'm not coming back. So I came back like the next day, and yeah, I got in some.
How many lashes? Show us your back.
Well, so at West Point, what you do is you go to this board, and they'll give you punishment, and the punishment is hours. You have to walk hours. So you have to dress in your like full dress uniform. You have to shine all your buckles and your shoes and everything. And then I got 160 hours I had to walk. And so you can only walk 7 hours a weekend. You show up Friday night at like 5 p.m., all shined and whatever, and then you walk back and forth in this quad, like down, and you do about face, and you come back and about face, and you do that for 2 hours. And then on Saturday you can walk 5 hours, and you have no privileges until all your hours are walked. So like my entire senior year, I had no privileges. I was spending my weekends walking hours, and it was just.
Damn, just for not coming home at 2 a.m.
Did you not see the same people like back and forth?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did you guys like make faces every time you crossed each other?
Yeah. Sometimes you do that, walk this way, and then other times they'll put you in a little platoon, and you walk in a formation, and you would play games like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon or something.
There you go. That's
but you're not supposed to be talking. So it's just,
you're whispering.
Yeah.
But
anyways,
yeah. So that was like my introduction to poker in West Point, when I was like really learning that I was like not happy at West Point and not happy where my life was headed, but I was like, oh my God, but poker's like, this is cool, man. This is like, it gets me, it lets my emotions out. I get to like pretend that I'm smart or good at it. Like I wasn't even good at it at all. I was just like, oh, look at me, like I'm good when I win, and then when I'm bad, I'm like, you're a piece of shit. You suck at poker. Like how I'm so much better than you, and you don't know how much better I am than you, and like all that stuff.
2006 poker,
You still get some of that here in 2024.
That's true.
Guys.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, come play with me. You'll get that every once in a while.
All right, so you graduate, and then you have 5 more years to put in, right?
Yeah.
Where do you
What
get
happens?
stationed? Yeah, what's the rest?
Spent 3 years in Hawaii, 2 years in Augusta, Georgia. Hawaii, I was playing like underground games in Hawaii.
How did that Hawaii post has to be desirable? How did you get that?
I did well. I was top of my class. So you basically.
I was going to say, I thought maybe he walked there. It's like, all right,
160 hours, you might be able to.
Yeah. You get to choose based on your class rank, your branch, which is like infantry, artillery, signal. I was signal, which is communications. And then once you're in the signal branch, it goes based on your rank, and you get to choose what post you go to. So they had like Brussels, Belgium. They had a couple Hawaii slots. Then they had like all over. So I chose Hawaii. Most people that go to Hawaii are like infantry, so they're mostly deployed. But because I was communications, I got to stay my entire 3 years on the island, so that was cool.
Sick.
So I was playing underground games. I was flying to Vegas. I met a couple people here on my first couple trips to Vegas, and that's how I like ended up moving here. And then I moved to Augusta, Georgia. I was playing some underground games there, or I was like driving down to Jacksonville, Daytona Beach, playing in those rooms. And all while I was actually doing pretty well, because the games back then were just, they're juicy, and you're playing with like guys who have jobs and don't know how to play.
You needed a pulse and the top 10 rankings chart of hands, and you could win.
Yeah. And then, so the Army time, I hated the Army. That was more like West Point was cool, but then when I got in the Army, it was like, you're responsible for these people, and these are the jobs you have to do, like make these PowerPoint slides for this commander and whatever. And I just absolutely hated it. Like it was not me. And it just like really, so the friction at that point in my life was like, I do not like the Army, and I don't know what I want to do with my life. And so poker was my outlet, and the Army was like, I hate my life. So I was living like tale of two lives. So then got out literally the day I could get out of the Army, March 31st, 2013. packed my truck, and I had like a 97 Dodge Ram. I packed it. I had a trailer hooked up to it, and I drove straight from Augusta, Georgia to Las Vegas.
Did you have a place lined up already, or friends like waiting for you or anything?
Yeah, one of my friends in the Army that I actually used to drive to Atlantic City with, he bought like a condo in Henderson, and so I lived there for the first couple of years.
Nice. Is he still in town? Just curious.
No, he never even lived here. He's I actually do think he lives here now, but I haven't talked to him in years.
Oh. It was like an investment
It was
property
an
or
investment
something?
thing. He knew I was coming here, and he did that give a thumbs up?
Yeah. We still have no idea why that happened. We try to make it work, and it never works, and then it'll just come up sometimes.
Maybe that was the dude chiming in. He's like, yes, I'm okay.
Yeah.
The dude.
His name is Paul Curley.
All right. Shout out to Paul.
All right.
Thanks for the condo rental.
You come to Henderson. Obviously, like poker's like your dream. This is great. You get to play 8 hours a day every single day.
Well, hold on. This is 2013.
This is 2013.
Did you ever play online or anything?
Yeah, so I was playing online when I was at West Point in the barracks, but it was just like I don't have a poker mind. I'm like not intuitively good at poker because I'm just like emotional when I play. So I would get like attached to good hands, or I would like I didn't have the mind to play online poker. So I'd play it and it'd just be me blowing money. So I would like deposit a bunch and like maybe do well for a little bit and then blow it all and then be like, oh, I hate this. And then like I'd get off it for a month and then try and play again and the same shit would happen. So just.
Okay, so live poker was where it was at for you.
Yeah.
What was when you exited the Army, you moved into this condo, what was your bankroll? What was your plan?
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a plan. But I had a
Just the bankroll question then.
Yeah. I had like
Vegas was the plan.
I think I came to Vegas with maybe like 15 or 20,000, and this is
not
back.
bad.
This is
That's not bad.
10 years ago, so that's a lot more than now. That's like 100,000 now, you know.
Something like that, yeah.
So
That's hard.
So yeah, I had like maybe 15 or 20,000, and I basically blew through it in like 6 months.
Oh,
I mean,
jeez. Yeah. No.
it was a very, very abrupt and blunt awakening to like you're not as good at poker as you think you are.
So it was all poker, not like no other vices, like whatever, like because Vegas can tear people apart. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I mean, I played blackjack here and there, and I'd go to the club here and there, but in general, that wasn't too much. It was just like I did not know how to play poker.
Gotcha.
I was really good at beating up on people who didn't know how to play poker, and then you come to Vegas and you're playing with other people like me.
Yeah.
And they just like.
Kind of the same thing. You're elevated again to like, I think I can do this. And also, so do all these people. They're not just doing it just for fun.
So where were you playing mainly? What was the?
I remember my very first day. I remember like walking into the Bellagio, and I didn't really like Bellagio, but I remember walking in there and just like walking through Bellagio and going, I'm a fucking professional poker player.
yeah.
Like, first day, like yeah.
That's cool as shit.
But I really liked Venetian. I didn't really like Wynn because that was the dingy room back then.
Yeah.
But Venetian was cool. Venetian had good games. They had the salon back then, so that was cool.
Did you play in the salon?
Yeah, I played when I was at West Point. I would fly and I would play in the salon with like Teddy Monroe.
Yeah. Iceman will freeze you.
And the Iceman took your bankroll.
I remember thinking he was like the pinnacle of the poker world. I'm like, God, one day I can be Teddy Monroe.
He was for a second, yeah. He got all that covers that one year, the main event or whatever. When he.
Yeah, they had the MTV Cribs version of his house.
Oh, that's
where
right.
they came
I
through.
forgot about that.
Shout out to Teddy Monroe,
Yeah.
wherever you are.
This is like Maryland or something.
So, were you playing any like tournaments at all? Like, have you even like dabbled in this at this point when you got to Vegas?
Tournaments were, no, I was not.
Was it patience or was it just like no desire?
Yeah, I think I didn't like. I definitely didn't have the patience for them. I think maybe I tried every once in a while, but I didn't know anything about tournaments. So
Gotcha.
I just really liked the cash game. I liked the quick hit of like I could win here and everything. But I was just really unskilled at navigating the emotions of the game, navigating like I would just really immature stuff back then. Like I would win. I remember like one of my early sessions, I like sat down at the table and I doubled with 1,000 into Venetian. I doubled up with like jacks in like the first, and then I was sitting there with 2,000. I go, oh shit, like what now? And then I just remember like I need to get up now or I'm gonna lose money. And then I'd be like, but I can't get up. I'm a poker player. I'm supposed to sit when you're winning. And then I'd like 30 minutes later, I have no money in front of me. I'm just like getting up, storming out, like damn it, Dave, like you did it again. Like you fucked up. You blew, like, you're never going to be and yeah, that was like a lot of the first 6 months was just like me not knowing how to play, me running this pattern of like, okay, I'm going to go, and like when I win or when variance helps me win, I'm like, okay, I'm great, I got this, it's cool. And then when I lose, I would just like leave and just beat up on myself, tearing myself like, you're a piece of shit, like you're the worst poker player ever, you're never going to get this, you're not as good as you think you are, all that stuff. And yeah, I remember in that first 6 months, I was like, there was one point where I went back to my room at the Meridian and I like laid in bed. I remember I got on the phone with my girlfriend and I like yelled at her. I told her, I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. Like, I hate my life and all. Like, it was dark, and I like hung up the phone with her and I just laid in bed for like 3 days. I like turned off my phone, didn't talk to anybody, and it was just like curtains were dark. I like woke up 3 days later and I didn't even know if it was day or night, and it was just it was like came to the bottom pit of like my own self-worth conversation of like who am I? What am I gonna do? Like, am I, like, poker was ultimately a reflection of what I believed about myself, which was like that I'm not good enough, which was why I was at West Point searching for this sense of respect and prestige and admiration from other people, because I didn't believe it about myself. And then poker was reflecting it back to me, saying, when you lose, like, look, see, you're a piece of shit. And when you win, like, oh, you're the best thing ever. So it was all on the outside. So
a lot of people go through that for what it's worth, and thank you for saying that. That's it's not
intense.
easy, but yeah, it's almost every poker player feels that feeling. I would say, like, it's
Yeah, anyone out there who's blown
It's hard.
their most recent paycheck and is thinking what Dave's thinking, just lay in bed for 3 days. Don't go through with the killing yourself part.
yeah.
follow poker with a purpose.
Follow Poker with a Purpose, because eventually he's here. We're getting to the silver lining soon. Don't worry, guys.
So, okay, 6 months, bankroll's almost gone. Depression's hit pretty hard. What drives you out of this? What's going on?
So I think I started with some like very light emotional intelligence work, like anger management, and I was like, okay, I need help. So I started getting help from like anger management, or I go into counseling and just trying to figure that stuff out. But it was not like the way that they did that stuff back then was pretty, like the way that you can do emotional intelligence stuff now, like it's advanced so much in 10 years. So back then it was just like anger management, like talking about my feelings with a therapist and stuff like that. So I wasn't really getting to the roots of anything.
But shout out to like actually trying to do that when you're at your absolute bottom bankroll wise and like feelings wise, and actually going to find somebody to help you dig out of that hole, because that's not easy to do. Like,
Recognizing that's the problem and then trying to fix the problem. That's tough.
I also didn't have any more money to play poker, so I had to find something else.
therapists aren't cheap though. You just pretend you had money, you get a little credit card situation going on, or
So I remember that I was like, I remember it was like January 2014, and I had maybe $300 in my bank account, and I was just like at the crux of like, shit. And I was West Point grad, so I'm getting like, back then, $100,000 job offers, which was like a lot of money back then, right? To someone who's broke, especially, right? So I'm getting these like job offers left and right from these giant corporations saying, yeah, come work for us, and I'm just like, but I live that life. Like, there's no way that I could live that life again. And so I was like, man, I'm either gonna have to do that and sell myself out, or I'm gonna have to go back and like ask my parents for money or something, like, because I don't know what's happening. And then so I was playing poker at the Venetian one day, and this guy sits down next to me, and he starts talking to me, whatever, this giant dude, he's laughing, joking, whatever, and we're talking, and he's like, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm a professional poker player. That whole thing. He's like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, what do you do? And he's like, I book sports. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting. And so we start talking, whatever, and he was like, he owned a sports website, and so he's like, found out I went to West Point and told me about it and everything. And I was like, oh, like I can make money doing this, and you'll teach me and everything. He's like, yeah. So I started working with him, and he taught me to be an agent. So back in 2014, I started building a book of players to bet with. So I've been doing that.
What's an agent for people that don't know out there in the real world?
Yeah, there's an agent is somebody who works for a sports betting website, and then they have a client list of players who bet with them. So for those that don't live in Vegas, when you go to Vegas, you can bet at any casino or bet on your phone. For those people that live, this was more prevalent 10 years ago because 10 years ago, sports betting was less prevalent and less accessible. Nowadays, you can, like all the states are legalizing it, but back then it was, you needed to know a guy, and there was a bunch of websites, like Bovada used to be able to do it, but there's hundreds or thousands of websites where you can bet sports. And so this guy offered me a job as an agent, and he's like, you just go out and you find players, and then you manage the players, and they bet on your website, and then you collect from them on Tuesdays, and you pay them out on Tuesdays, and you just take care of your players. And so that's like mostly how I was making money for the last 10 years.
So basically you're an affiliate. You
Right.
sign someone up and then you get some residual income off of that.
Did you get like a free roll off their losses, or you just get like a kind of a base rate per player like that you brought in?
No, I was like, it was my book. I own the book.
Oh, okay. So you're
players I
actually
had,
booking them. Okay.
I was booking. I wasn't taking the bets. They were betting through the website, but they were my players. So whatever they lost,
So what if someone won $301 though? What was the plan then?
So like, all right, I'm out of business. So my partner, because that was a concern of mine when we first started, and he's like, yeah, I got you. If you do everything the way I say to do it, if you follow my lead and do all this stuff, then I got you. And when you start book, the way he did it was everybody starts small. So people are making 20, 40, 50, $100 bets, like 100. I don't even open up, like ours was, you open up maybe a $200 account and they could do $40 bets max.
I got you.
So you get a bunch of them. I think my first year I got like 15 players, and then the next year I had like 50 players, and then you just, grow it over 10 years.
And you met these players mainly through poker, or was it?
I would play poker and I would talk to people at the table, or I would just go, I used to walk from Meridian to the Link.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Tag sports bar that's at the Link, I think.
Yeah.
And I would just sit there and I would like talk to the guy on my right, and then I'd talk to the guy on my left, and I would just be like, where are you from? What do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm here, I book sports and this and that. And if you want to bet when you go back home, let me know. And that was that. And I just started collecting players one by one.
I'm sold. I want to wager one crystal.
I'm not wagering mine. I like this.
Oh, damn. I can't get called, I guess.
I'm done now. I'm out.
So obviously there's some pitfalls when it comes to this, like collecting for people that aren't going to pay. Tell me about, I mean, you don't have to tell specific stories, but like, was this like an issue at all? Like I don't think you're the type of person to break thumbs, but.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too much into the sports betting, but it was pretty, partner just always said, you never give anybody an account that that you don't want to walk away from.
There you go. Yeah.
So don't loan anybody money or give anybody an amount of credit that you're not okay if they just walk away. So
that's good.
Yeah, you if they don't pay, you call them a bunch of times, you text them a bunch of times, and if they don't answer, then you just tell the guy,
Chalk it
like
up.
This guy, at the end of the year, we would just wipe the bad debt that people didn't
Gotcha.
pay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that helped you get back on your feet?
Yeah, so that was, the first couple of years it's not making a lot of money. So the first couple of years I was still like playing low limit poker, taking care of myself, doing counseling and anger management, whatever. And then, and then I got kind of a little like, I'm not really sure if Vegas is for me kind of thing. So I went to LA for a couple of years, 2015, 16, I went to LA because that's where the games were popular there. Mm-hmm. Was playing at Commerce in Hollywood Park, and
had you been back and forth to LA and you thought you might like it, or you just kind of went on a whim?
Yeah, I had a couple of friends that were moving there, and we all kind of decided to move there together. They said, oh, the games are amazing there and you should go. And at this point in my career, I was like, I need to go to a game where they're dumping money because I wasn't good enough to like beat good players. So
sure.
Went to LA, got a house in Mar Vista with a couple guys, played there for a while, hung out at the beach, did the LA life for 2 years, and I hated it. It was too big, too much traffic. I hated Commerce. The energy of Commerce sucks.
Playing in a big cafeteria.
Yeah.
Even the ceiling tiles are like, yeah, and you walk in and everything's reminding you might get cancer.
Well, there's literally a sign. It's like if you touch our chips, you might die.
Exactly.
They just a big sign right when you walk in. It's like the paint chips they're pretty bad, but yeah, welcome to Commerce.
Our chips are painted in lead. Not going to change them.
The sign was way cheaper.
This sign much cheaper than revamping our chips.
That's funny.
Yeah, Commerce was not fun.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's one of my least favorite places I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, okay, it took you a year and a half to realize this, and then you come back to Vegas?
Yeah, so I actually went to, so I left LA and I bought an RV because I had a friend who was like, I think I'm gonna live in an RV for a little bit. So I jumped in, I bought an RV for like $25,000. At that point I was making a little money. But at this point I was making money from the sports book and just losing it at the poker table. I'm playing like 5-10 and like taking shots at 10-20 Commerce, and I was just getting like eaten alive, just absolutely destroyed. So I bought this RV and I was like, yeah, I don't know, let's see where life takes me. So I bought this RV. I do a loop around the country. I was traveling with.
Can we just take a second? Like, so you're playing poker in LA, you're making money off of your other stuff, passive income type stuff, and then you're losing at poker and you're like, you know what? It's time for an RV and a loop around the country. Like how? Your buddy, just one buddy was like, I think this is a good idea, and you're like, yeah, all right, this is different than what I'm doing.
Spirit.
Yeah, I just I felt like Vegas was like home to me when I first moved there, because my grandparents retired there, and then my grandpa got cancer shortly after and he died, and then my grandma didn't have enough money to stay, so she moved back to Syracuse. So I remember coming to Vegas when I was like 8 years old with my dad and my mom, and I remember like staying at Treasure Island and watching that movie that they play over again, the pirate show. Yeah. So I was like, I loved Vegas and I always thought Vegas was the place for me. But then when I got here, like 2013 with Vegas was like no culture and the games were not that good, and so it didn't work. So I went to LA, and then I was just like, man, I don't know what I'm doing, so let me buy this RV and just travel and see what happens.
All right, so just an exploration journey.
Yeah, so me and my buddy Sasha, the one that I do Poker with a Purpose with, we got in the RV, we were traveling around the country. We went to, there was a tournament in Tahoe, we went there, and then we went to, I think, Choctaw, and we just did a couple things.
Yeah,
I went to
that's awesome.
East Coast to visit my family, and then I was like, I think I'm gonna head back to Vegas. So I head back to Vegas, and this is January 2018. And the reason I got back to Vegas was because there was this emotional intelligence course, Choice Center, which Negranu and Esfandiari.
I was huge into the poker world for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So a friend of mine went there, and he's like, "Oh, you should go." And I was like, "I don't know about this. Like, it sounds a little weird. So you go, and if you tell me it's cool, then I'll go." So he went, and he's like, "Oh my God, you got to go, dude." And this was kind of like the next evolution of my own self-development. So I go, and in there, I go to the class, and I end up meeting my baby mama in there. And you're not supposed to date in the, as you know, I like to follow the rules.
Yes, you're clearly a rule follower.
Habitual line stepper. Yeah.
So yeah, you're not supposed to date other participants. And we get in there, and the way that it worked was we did this exercise. And basically the feedback that I got in the exercise was that nobody liked me, like at all. And I was like, it like really hurt, because I was like, I know I'm a good person, but back then in my life, like I felt so shitty about myself that like all my anger and rage and grief and sadness, whatever, would come out at the poker tables where I'd let it out, and I'd be yelling at people at the table at Commerce or Vegas, and I'd just like spewing like emotional poison, whatever, that I was full of from childhood and everything. So this happens, and I get all this feedback from all these people that, like, they don't like me, and then I'm like hurt and broken and everything. Yeah, you like that?
Thumbs up again.
I'm hurt and broken.
Somebody's rooting for my demise. So on the dinner break, this little girl comes. She's like 22 and like small girl, hair down and flannel jacket, like hiding from the world, comes up to me, and she's like, "Oh, I just was wondering what all these people had to say about you, because I had you as one of like the top 2 people in the class that I was like admiring." And I was like, that like hit me, because I was like, oh my God, like nobody's ever said anything like that to me. So that immediately, like I got this validation from her, and then she was looking for validation from me. So we got in this like, you know, we had this connection, and she ended up, we started messing around, and she got pregnant after 6 weeks.
Nice.
So
virile man.
He shoots, he scores.
Where did you lay the eggs? Which nest? Which high perch
In her
did
vagina.
you? Buddy, he's a hawk. Where did the hawk lay his eggs? No. Okay, go ahead.
in the RV, bro.
Oh, okay, RV.
That's funny.
Yeah, right in the RV bed. Yeah, so she gets pregnant, and now I'm like, oh my god, like I can't have a pregnant. We were like, she was actually literally the day I met her, she was engaged to some other dude, and she broke up with him, and then she got pregnant. And
Damn. So you were at Choice Center, and everybody said that they didn't like you, except for this one person, and you're like,
I'm gonna impregnate
I like you, actually, as it turns out. Let's get out of here.
Well, we were both like reflections of each other's low self-worth conversations. So I was like telling her like, oh my God, you're good enough, you're awesome. And she was telling me, you're good enough, you're awesome. Yeah. So we had that codependent. Yeah. And then, she got pregnant. I'm in the RV, and I'm like, well, she's living with me in the RV now because she left her other guy. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I can't be having a pregnant girl in Vegas in summer in an RV. Yeah. So I was like, let me get this house.
Oh, no, sorry. They got a house. It's a happy ending,
I have 2 kids. I have 2 kids, Art.
Oh, 2 kids.
So she was in the RV, and then I ended up moving into the house that I'm in. So she moved in, and we had 2 kids. Her and I ended up not making it, but we got 2 amazing kids out of it, and that kind of really... Yeah, Choice Center and the kids really catapulted my self-development and self-worth journey, because I was like, okay, it's not just about me looking good and winning at poker and all this stuff now. It's about like, I have these 2 kids, and I have to find out like how to be the best version, not the best version of myself. Like I have to find out how to really love myself, because these little kids are depending on my love. And I remember like as a kid that I didn't feel loved and I didn't feel worthy like a ton of times as a kid, because your parents get lost in their own lives. And so I was like, okay, well, how do I not repeat the same pattern? How do I create a new pattern of like showing these kids that they're worthy of love, worthy of respect, worthy of gratitude and joy and everything. And they've been my greatest teachers, because they're just like, kids are born and they're just, they're just like...
They're blank slates, and they'll say what they're thinking. Yes. So you moved back to Vegas after that? Got a house in Vegas?
I never left, so I
well, you were RVing it
here, and I was like staying in an RV in the Choice Center parking lot, and then I got the house, moved into the house. We moved in the house, and I've been in the house ever since. 5 years. That's good.
Hey, that's fantastic. How old are your kids now?
5 and 3, 5.5, 3.5.
That's right. And the names are?
Levi, and Liam.
Okay. I've met Levi. I haven't met Liam, I don't believe.
Yeah, Liam is awesome. But I have absolutely the most amazing kids in the world, present company excluded, obviously. But they're amazing, and they teach me so much, and they're just like bundles of love and joy, and you just get a direct reflection of like, anytime I notice that they're out of their love, joy, happiness, gratitude vibe, and I'm like, okay, I got to look within and be like, okay, what did I do, or how did I show up that created that? Because they're just like pure, and they don't know anything other than play and joy and love. So if they're out of it, then it's like, well, what am I doing that's causing that? So
from there, from Choice Center and having your first boy, you started like turning your mental game around, and it affected you on the poker table, you think? Stuff started turning around that way too?
Yeah, I was still, I was making money from the sports book then, so I was playing in Bobby's room with you guys. That's how we met. Yep. I was playing there. And I was, still really I was like on the path, but I was still sitting in the I'm not worthy conversation within. So I would go, like I remember playing in Bobby's room, and I think I was like, when I first started playing there, I was maybe in the first 6 months or whatever, I was up maybe like 100,000. I was like, all right, I'm doing good. Like things are like this cool. I got it now. And then I crashed. And I think I lost like a few 100,000, after that. And it was like, oh man, more of the same. But it was like picking up steam. It was like Choice Center. And then I started doing a lot of, just emotional intelligence work with my buddy Sasha. He's been my coach, my best friend, my mentor since then. And our journeys have mirrored each other. So we've like really learned how to just like pour love into ourselves and like learn how these different internal conversations, like tilt is the whole thing at poker. Like when you're not playing well, it's like tilt. And what we've discovered is that tilt is more than just this, like, I'm not playing well. It's these different conditionings that come up within us. So like for me, for example, is like I have a couple different conditionings. One is like this I'm not worthy, or like I don't love myself conditioning. So like when that happens, we'll be like, I'm not enough, therefore I don't have enough, so I play from scarcity. So I'll have chips in front of me, and it's like, I will do everything in my power to hold on to these chips. I don't want to fuck up. I can't make a mistake. I can't do anything outside of my comfort zone, because if I lose any of these chips, I'll feel like a giant piece of shit. And then there's the other side is like, I have to fight. Like, I still don't love myself, but the reaction is going to be, I'm going to fight and prove that I'm enough. Right. So instead of playing safe, it's way the other end. It's like, I call him the Mike Tyson. And the Mike Tyson is like, he gets in the ring and he's fighting from fear, but he's literally trying to pummel everything to a pulp. Mm-hmm. And so when you're there, it's like, these chips don't mean anything. I'm going to like light them on fire because I'm out to prove that I'm good enough, but ultimately it comes back to prove that I'm not good enough. And so you just like literally dust through your chips to get the emotional payoff, which is the conversation underneath that says like, I'm not good enough. So you create the experience of not being good enough by dusting off your chips. And then it's like, see, I knew I wasn't good enough. I knew I'm not worthy of keeping.
Are you my self-conscious? I'm just curious because there's literally conversations I have with myself almost every day.
Dude, that's great. And one thing I love about your little like your vlogs and your single hands where you're like doing weird shit where you like have fives and it comes like king queen 3 or something like that, and you like have already 4-bet or you've already called a 3-bet and you're like you check and then you say something about the guy, like your read on his, I don't know, mindset, I guess, like his current aura. You're like, oh, look, not confident, not happy with his decision. Look how he's putting the chips in, like, and you end up calling him down with these fives and they're good. Like hands like that where you put in, it's like, it's way different than any other poker content out there. If you guys are watching and you haven't seen his Instagram, PokerWithAPurpose, I don't know. No, it only likes when we're depressed. You should check it out because it's definitely different than like your standard type of, nothing against Brad Owen, but like those types of vlogs where they're like describing the hands kind of like a computer would or something like that. He's very like aura mindset oriented and he's like, I'm feeling this way, I've been running over the table, and then here it is. I can't even say it because I don't know, but like I like a lot of your videos for sure.
Thanks.
Yeah,
like when as I became more conscious of the conversations that are, you know, in my mind and my body of my own stuff, then you start to see it in other people, and you don't exactly know what's going on in other people's minds. So like anytime you try to interpret it, it's going to be a projection. But ultimately you will see, like, you see the guy that is like way too aggressive and you're like, oh, okay, that guy's living in the I need to prove myself conversation. Like he's sitting down and he's just like 3-betting, 4-betting, and he's barreling and doing all this stuff, and you're like, why is he doing that? It's like, well, because he's operating from a mindset of like, I'm not good enough and I need to show up to the table to prove that I'm good enough. And then you got the guy who's like dead money on the other end of the spectrum. He's like, I need to play it safe. I better not make a mistake. I better not fuck up. I don't want to lose these chips. So you got these two guys that are on opposite end of the spectrum, and they're living the same conversation of ultimately like, I'm not worthy or I'm unlovable or whatever the underlying belief is. And these beliefs are not things that, like, you know, I had this belief, like I said, the last 10 years I was a losing poker player. And what I found out in, I did a NLP, neuro-linguistics programming breakthrough session, and they go in and they'll find like whatever belief is like in your unconscious and bring it to light and then release it. And it.
How do they do that?
Yeah.
It's just, they basically work you through these like verbal exercises. Like they ask you a bunch of questions to kind of like confuse your consciousness, and then like literally the like belief will like slip through. So mine was
like verbally, or like they hook you up to like
no, verbally.
Okay.
It's just you talking to your
I got you.
coach,
Okay.
and they have a bunch of like questions that they ask you, and they get down to your underlying belief.
I see.
So mine was, I'm a loser. And this is like, nobody ever said to me like, you're a loser, Dave. It was just like, you know, you get bullied in high school. You feel like an outcast as like, you know, I'm an Aquarius, so we always feel like outcasts or
I'm
loners.
an Aquarius too. That's good.
Yeah. When's your birthday?
January 29th.
Oh no shit, it's my mother-in-law's birthday. Cool, nice.
Is she single, or what's going on?
No.
Okay, sorry.
No.
You don't want to get with another Aquarius, right?
We
That
don't
would be
match
weird.
up well. Yeah, sorry. No, we do, but like, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you know, you have all these experiences through your life, and your brain compiles them and into a belief system, which is like, well, obviously I'm a loser because this person doesn't like me, and because obviously I go to college and I'm not good enough at college, and so you're.
Yeah, not only did you not get into the 2 Ivy Leagues or whatever you tried for, then you went to the 1 and you're like, oh, it's still kind of tough here, but I don't like it. And then you go to West Point and you're like, okay, but it's not for me. Like you do well, but it's not for you. And then yeah, I could see the kind of emotional subconscious roller coaster that you were on. And then yeah, you fire out that, and what did they do after you had that?
Yeah, so like your brain wants to make sense of the environment, so it creates this belief, and then so we did this thing and found out like that I had this belief that I'm a loser, and then it's like the way it works is you look at your life and you go like, oh well, no shit, like I've literally been playing poker 9 years and I'm a losing player for 9 years, and it's like, oh my God, this belief that I had was literally creates your environment. So first it's like your environment creates the belief, but then the way the brain works is it has to confirm what it believes. Otherwise you'll be in like cognitive dissonance with the world. Mm-hmm. The world won't match your belief system. So the belief then creates the experience of whatever the belief is. And some people that's like, I'm abundant and I'm worthy of money and love and everything. And for other people, it's the other end of it.
Why'd you point at Justin when you said that?
It was subconscious.
It's true. Justin doesn't think he should be allowed to win, but he should, because that beautiful beard deserves to get paid. This is like 3 weeks of growth. It's fucking incredible.
Nice.
Look at
So-
that thing.
I thought you were a Cancer. Which one?
No, my wife's a Cancer.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So is mine. I'm a Sagittarius, though. Like Jay-Z. Me and him are basically the same.
Basically the same.
Jay-Z Sagittarius?
I don't know. He has that song where he says, "My son is a Sag." I assume that's what he means.
I think you misheard it.
Maybe he's saying he was a sage.
I don't know if you want to like not delve too deep into this, but I also know that I don't want to like overstate it, but like I know you like psychedelics or like the opening your mind part of like hallucinogens. To the point where I know you have done ayahuasca and like you've been led down that path. And I believe, don't you lead people now as well, or you used to, or?
Yeah, I participate.
Okay.
Yeah, and let me button up the last conversation real quick.
Sorry.
That's cool. So once I did this NLP breakthrough and I found this belief and released it, so I literally went from 9 years of losing at poker, like losing every limit, 1, 3, 2, 5, 5, 10, to every limit, to did this NLP breakthrough, and then last year I finally had my first winning year of poker ever. And it literally went from like, thank you.
Yeah.
It literally went from like, had the breakthrough, and then afterward had like 6 straight months of winning. So it's like.
Winning confirms winning, and it continues. It's kind of
But
crazy how
yeah,
that works.
and then confidence
Confidence is a real thing.
Confidence is a
in
real
poker.
momentum.
I know poker is a luck game, but it's absolutely not. Like, I mean, there's. If you walk in thinking you're going to win, you're just going to win. And if you're like indifferent, you're.
Dude, 100%. If you get an ace king versus queens and you see the hands up, when you're in the loser's mindset, you just know you're going to lose at least one of the 2 runouts if you run it twice. If it's a tournament, you just know you're out. But then if you actually do lose when you're on the upswing and you're on the confidence thing, you're like a fluke.
That's right, exactly right. And if you lose, you're just like regurgitating the same thing. It's like, of course I lost. I'm terrible. Like,
yeah. And then you start your next session with a fucking loser attitude too.
So I just want to say a super quick story because it's going to take like 10 seconds. But like Brian Green, who's a good friend of mine, he made it deep in like the Champions Club, like 3,300. And he gets it in aces versus ace 3. And he stands up and he was like, already just like bemoaning that he's going to lose to ace 3 suited. Mm-hmm. Yeah, ace 3 of hearts. And he just got done getting a massage, and he takes his shirt off. Well, I mean, if I had a body like him, I probably would too. But like,
I think I just saw this, right? Did this just happen?
Yeah, like this was like yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And he took his shirt off, and the flop came like king high 2 hearts, and he literally just left. And he's just like, yeah, this is how I'm just gonna lose. And the camera couldn't find him. He was just gone. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm not saying his feelings manifested the heart on the river or anything like that, but like, if it doesn't come, he comes back, and like, it's just like, it's about time I won one of these, as opposed to if he loses, which he did, it's like, of course I lost. Like,
it's like the opposite fluke, right? He's
exactly
like, oh, I
right.
accidentally won.
exactly right. And like, when you have the positive mindset, when you lose, you're just like, that's okay. I played really good this tournament. Like, I did all I could. I know it sucks, but like, okay, that's fine. And if you win, it's not even a thought. Like, there's no like extra thought. It's just like, okay, I won. Let's go.
Yeah,
Next hand, please. And like, one of my good friends that actually, like 2 of them actually, but Shannon Short and Eric Baldwin tried this stuff with me like 10 years ago, and it's a very valid point of just kind of like mentally getting past the hand. Like, You see what you're up against, and all you're doing is thinking about the next hand. It's like, okay, if I lose this, I'm going to have 14 blinds. I have 14 blinds. What's my opening range? And you don't even look at the board. You don't even care about the board. You don't care about the results because the results are already there. It's fine.
And you have no control over it.
Exactly right. And like it's a very hard. It's easier to say and harder to actually practice. And that's I think that's where the successful poker players kind of like get past that, like a lot through meditation or whatnot. But like it's about liking yourself and like realizing that you don't have to identify as a winner or a loser. You have to identify as like a poker player or whatever, just like strategist.
Human.
Yeah.
So either way, that's good.
Yeah, we as poker players have a tendency to like take the outside results and use it to affirm whatever
That's
we
right.
believe underneath, and then it's like, yeah, I suck because I lost or whatever, and it's like really tapping into how you like what you feel, like that because everybody in poker we're taught to resist what we're feeling, like don't show your emotions. You have to have a poker, like the whole game is built on that you can't be authentic to who you are because it's weakness in the poker world.
Sure.
If you show who you are, if you show your emotions, you're a fish, you're casual, people take advantage of it. So we're taught to hide our emotions, and especially as men, we're taught that in our society anyway. But like the real key is, like you said, not letting the results define you, but also just like really tapping into like, how does this make me feel, and feeling it, because each of us has like this, inner child within that like feels things, and when things happen at the poker table, it makes us feel something, but if we avoid that feeling, it'll keep coming back. So so that's what I do at the table now, is I just really check in like before every hand, every street, is I look within and I'm like, all right, like what am I feeling right now? Like who's playing for me? And really giving all those thoughts and feelings a voice. Because when you give them the voice, then you let them out and then they're free. And if you don't let them out, then they stay in there and then they will play poker for you.
They make babies, and then their babies play poker for you as well.
Yeah.
There's 28 generations of bad thoughts. Like,
And if there's
that live.
anything that anyone out there has played with Dave, one thing that he should be accused of is he takes a long time to decide who's driving the boat. He can sometimes take a deep breath. And then if I could spend like 5 minutes here, like extending the podcast with no noise, that could be Dave sometimes. Sometimes he's tanked.
I'm better now. I haven't played with you guys in a while. No, I'm good.
Yeah?
I haven't had the clock called on me in, I think, maybe 6 months. Yeah.
Oh,
At
goodness.
least a year, maybe.
You must be playing tournaments.
So he used to I guess we said it at the beginning, his nickname used to be Turtle Dave. Not only did he have a little turtle card protector, did that precede the nickname?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but he actually took a really long time sometimes in hands. I mean, not as long as Brian Oaken. You're the worst. But but he would take, he's never had a 20-minute tank, I would bet. You've never had a 20-minute tank. But Oaken has had several. And but he would sometimes, just take a really long time, he's facing a bet on the turn, takes a deep breath. And I guess the question he was asking himself is, who's driving the boat? And he would eventually come to a solution. And honestly, most people, when they take that long, it's on the river and it's whether to call or fold. Dave could still raise after he takes that long. Like he could still be like, all right, I'm there. I have the nuts and I'm going to play them strong. But anyways, where were we?
Well, he had his first winning year, and then he booked 6 winning months in a row, I believe. That's right. So the confidence is, well, I would say mentally your confidence is high. Like, so what goes on from there?
Yeah, now it's really like learning to, the process that I connect with is just like learning to love myself every day, not going to the poker table to feel worthy. Like a lot of my journey was just like, I need to go win at poker and have a good session, because if I win at poker, then I'll feel better about myself. And so now it's just like connecting with how grateful I am to have like beautiful house, beautiful family, like beautiful girlfriend, just like things I enjoy doing, like reading.
Beautiful friends.
Coffee shop. Yes.
Oh, his hands on every Are you gonna play some tournaments this summer? I feel like you're gonna win a tournament with your current mindset and.
I feel like I'm gonna also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can I like officially buy a piece? Can I buy like 5% of the whole summer?
5% of the whole summer. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I'll probably do it intuitively. Like I'm probably not gonna put a schedule together, but.
No schedule. I just want you to text me and just I'll auto be on for 5% of whatever you play. Play the 100K. Fuck it. I'm in.
Done.
5K.
Done.
Okay.
Yes.
We got it on video.
Edit that part.
I'll delete this part out
that
if he if he actually bricks the whole summer. This video is not coming out till August 8th.
And psychedelics.
Oh yeah, bring it back.
So
To the mushrooms.
I know, like, I think that's one of the first conversations that we actually had that had some personal, like, undertones to it or whatever. Because, like, I'm a big proponent of it. I do think it helps, I wouldn't say cure, but it definitely helps alleviate some pressure mentally for me, where, like, if I get kind of backed up, like, I can kind of reset the brain a little bit. And, like, I was very interested when you said you were going to do ayahuasca, which is something I've never done, am interested in, but, like, I also know how intense it is. As someone that hasn't done it, I'm not saying describe the thing, but, like, describe how you got into it and, like, kind of your purpose for, like, getting into that stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because I had a friend when I was in LA. I had a friend who did ayahuasca in Peru, and he was like, "Dude, shit happened, and I don't know what happened, and I can barely process it." And I'm like, he was like out of his mind, and I was like, okay, never doing that. I was like, I think if it like sounds like something I'll do in the future, but like I'll know when the time is right. So then like a friend of mine called me one weekend, and they were like literally gonna do ayahuasca at a friend's house in my neighborhood. And the facilitator called me, and she's like, "Hey, would you like to come over and do ceremony?" And I was like, "All right, if ayahuasca is like down the street, then it's probably
Might be meant to be. I mean, honestly, it might be meant to be. But yeah.
So yeah, that was my first experience, and I remember. So that was like right after, like a year after I met my baby mama, and I was like, you know, still really energetically in my like anger, frustration, and like all that stuff. So I remember drinking a cup, and I was just like, the shaman, she was singing the song. It's a chacapa. It's these dried feathers that goes like, and she just does that, and then she's singing a song that sounds like, "We are Siamese, if you please." It's like that's like the vibe of the song.
Yeah.
And I just remember like crawling in my skin for like the song was probably like 5 minutes long or 10 minutes long, and I remember it going on for like 7 hours, and just like I remember couldn't move in my body. Like it was like everything was itching, and it's what happens is it's like, you know, whatever feelings you're resisting kind of like get purged out, you know. So the songs are meant to trigger you into feeling certain things so that you feel them, because feeling is what we avoid. We all like to think.
So your emotions kind of turn physical in your body, or?
Yeah, you'll because the medicine drops in your body, it goes into all your muscles, all your capillaries and everything, and it gets all the whatever stuff is in there, and it like ayahuasca is a purging medicine, so it grabs all the stuff that's not supposed to be there, and it collects it, and you purge it. Purge it, you know.
Yeah.
Either way. Or you'll sweat, you'll cry, you'll yawn, like all sorts of purging. Yeah.
So, like, after you did it, did you get into the teaching side of that at all, or was that?
Yeah, I'm very interested in the facilitation side. I'm very interested in psychedelics and how they. I'm really interested in holding space.
What does that mean?
Holding space is basically just like that's what the facilitator does. So the facilitator is not the like she's there to help you process things, he or she. But the facilitator, the medicine is the active ingredient.
Right.
The medicine is the spirit. They're the one. It's the higher level consciousness, you know. So it does what it does, and it gives you what you need in the moment. And the facilitator is there just to hold space. She creates the environment that says like, hey, you're safe here,
Right.
whatever.
So the medicine is the mountain, and she's the Sherpa, kind of.
Yeah, she's a Sherpa at the hospital, the
guiding
doctor,
you up the
whatever it is.
mountain.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never done any hallucinogens, so I don't know, but I would be open to trying if.
Next episode, no. We don't do ayahuasca. We can start small.
Yeah, we'll do something smaller. We'll do like yeah. But so they hold it. They create the home. They stage the house. They run you through some body movements and stuff. You do meditation to start with, so you get your like body and mind like, okay, I'm here now. I've let go of like the news and everything that's happening out there, and then you take the medicine. The medicine takes you
Where you want it, or where?
Wherever you don't want to go.
Definitely never where you want it to go.
Yeah, sure.
It goes where she wants to go.
Yeah, that's true. Where
Yeah.
it needs to go.
And then, so psychedelics have really helped me on my journey. They help me connect my mind and my body together. They help me really start to feel more, and just have more fun. Like, you know, when you're like, you know, you could do some mantras. Like I remember the first ayahuasca I went to, the mantra was like, I'm grateful for this experience. Someone gave it to me. She's like, just keep this for the night. And I just remember like going through some really intense shit and just going like, oh God, I'm so grateful for this. Right, I'm so grateful for this awful feeling. You know, just like.
How many have you done?
Ayahuasca's maybe like 5.
Okay.
And some other ceremonies did maybe like 10 other ceremonies, like heart opener and mushroom chocolate. Those are a little cooler.
Mushroom chocolate.
Yeah.
I mean, I like chocolate.
Chocolate with mushroom in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You like,
It's just a
you
different
like
way to
mushrooms
ingest
too, right?
psilocybin. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, one and a half more questions before we leave the people of the internet. You seem like you're in a really good state right now. What's Dave Richards' summer look like? What are you going to do from here through the rest of the year, poker-wise? I know you're probably going to wake up and be like, "What's my inner spirit telling me to do?" But what do you think your inner spirit is going to tell you to do for the rest of the summer?
Well, I'm gonna. I just got in a relationship with a new girl that I'm like super into. It's like soulmate type vibe, so I'm like really into that. So she has a son, and I have my kids. So we're definitely gonna do some family stuff. Exploring Vegas. Putting the family together, getting the boys together, and everything.
Might I recommend Disneyland? Just big fan of Disneyland, guys. It's everybody, every single person who's there is there to have a happy time. You know, it's just good. It's just good vibes everywhere. And if you see somebody crying, it's like, wow, I can't believe that's happening here at Disneyland. It's like very rare. So anyway,
Sorry, he
carry on.
works missing. Go ahead.
Sorry, season pass holders over here at the Parman household.
Last year I played mostly tournaments and I didn't play much cash, but I think I'm gonna probably grind at the win a little bit. So do more cash at the win. Probably play a few tournaments. I'm gonna win a tournament. So
Yeah, I heard.
summer.
At least one.
So a little passive income for the art man.
I'll get you guys better crystals.
No, there's
If I win
nothing
a
better
tournament,
than our fucking.
I knew you guys would like that.
Fuck, what happened? Oh, it's this side. Oh, it's this side.
Well, Art, don't mess it up. Art, don't touch my
Oh,
crystal like
hey,
that.
there it is. Oh. All right. For those on Spotify, imagine what you just heard.
We connected crystals.
You're going to have your cowboy hat on? I like your cowboy hat a
I
lot.
do too.
Yeah.
You look like a little like Wyatt Earp. Not like a little Wyatt Earp. I
got
mean like a little bit like Wyatt Earp.
I've gotten Clint Eastwood a couple times, and yeah.
You're like Indiana
some
Jones
outfits.
meets a fucking shaman. That's what you are.
When I make a final table, I'll wear a nice little outfit.
Maybe a little table one patch. We'll put it right here.
You guys give me a table one patch, I'll wear it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. So do you do any like coaching or anything? I know you have Poker with a Purpose. Instagram, a lot of followers. Shout out to the Poker with a Purpose people who are definitely watching this, and YouTube.
YouTube channel also. So right now, my partner Sasha is an NLP master practitioner, neuro-linguistics programming master practitioner. So we have like a bunch of stuff that we do with our clients. We can do breakthrough sessions. We can do, there's like a bunch of techniques you can do to, I just put on the YouTube channel an anxiety model meditation, which is a great meditation, 15 minutes long. Where you can, before a session, like if you're feeling anything, anxiety, fear, uncertainty, if you're feeling any of that stuff coming up 15 minutes before your session or tournament, and it will, what it does is it like takes you out into the future and you like envision yourself, and you envision the scenario ending in the greatest, like the most positive, the best way possible. And so it like completely eviscerates your anxiety or fear and everything like that. So that's like a lot of the stuff we do, breakthroughs, anxiety models, and there's a bunch of other techniques that we can do to release limiting beliefs, to transform belief systems, thoughts, feelings, anything like that. And so it's like, reach out if you are looking to upgrade your processing system, because ultimately that's what it is. It's like getting rid of the old algorithms in your mind and your body that don't serve you anymore, and creating new belief systems that will catapult you to in your life to where you want to go.
And how do they reach out to you? They have to think about it, right? And you'll just enter their mind.
If it's meant to be, they'll guess.
Through the ether. Yeah, Poker with a Purpose on Instagram, DM me. That would be the best place.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's not like a website where they can just like one-click buy this package to be better at mindset.
Nope. There's
It's
a
custom
link,
for everyone.
there's a link in my Instagram bio where you can send us a message or sign up for a Zoom call where we can do an introduction call and see what you need and how we can help you.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
It's a good take, man. Being sincere, it's a different take we've ever taken on gambling or poker specifically, but it's really nice.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, this is good.
Art, you want to do your spiel or?
Okay, I'll do the spiel. Guys, if you've made it this far, you know the deal. You're probably already subscribed, but if you're not, we have something we call the Degenerates Agreement. We can't check if you do it. We assume that you will. It's like your bookie, you know, he thinks you're going to pay on Monday or Tuesday, but maybe you don't. In this case, you pay. This is Saturday right now when you're viewing this, probably. By Monday, you better be subscribed, or, you know, you're going to break your thumbs. Or how do we do the... Anyway. So, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, tell us the best part of this video, somebody that you want to see on the video, on the channel, anything like that. And yeah, the YouTube algorithm will thank you for it. They will literally send you a message in the mail, post-stamped today, whatever day you're watching.com. And yeah, that's the spiel. Is that about what you wanted me to say, Justin?
I thought it was more concise than that, but yeah, I was just like, whatever, like, subscribe, tell 2 of your friends and 2 of your enemies. I thought that's what you're going to do.
That is what I was going to do, but you know, life happens. So my spiritual crystal told me I had to say a little bit more this time. So yeah, love you guys,
right.
people of the internet. That's the pod.
Me and my buddy, we making all of this money. Yeah, I know it's rude to be bragging. They